Ahoy there, folks. I'm Captain Benzie, and welcome back to another video for EVE Online. It has been too long since I made one of these. Long story short, a lot of real life happened over the past few years. It's taken me a while to get my feet firmly underneath the rest of me, but I am back playing EVE Online now, and just as I'm jumping back in, along comes a new expansion. I'm not going to get into everything that's happened. Those of you who watch my channel and have tuned in will know some of the details, and I'm sure if you've been around in this channel for a long time, you can probably hear one of the big changes, but we'll come into that at some other time, I'm sure. Today, what I want to do is go over the expansion notes for Legion and talk about what they mean for players like you and me who are playing this game, what changes are happening, and how it will affect you. So without further ado, do the usual stuff. Drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already and you want more content like this. We'll talk more about that as we go on. So let's just read this. It will be no flashy graphics, just the patch notes on stream with me adding my own thoughts and opinions to it. So there is a lot to cover. Let's dive right in. Now, first of all, we have freelance jobs. This is something that really, really excites me. Essentially, freelance jobs, in the long and short of it, are a way for capsuleers who are not part of a corporation to kind of join in with the corporation mission structure that we've had for a couple of years now in EVE Online. This ability for corporations to set missions and tasks with payouts in ISK and other things. And this time around, non-capsuleers can actually join in with those. So if you're sitting there in nullsec space and you've got a load of stuff you want to get done for your corporation, and your corporation is kind of diligently doing their thing, but you've got a few other players who happen to hang around, they're not part of your corporation, they just happen to live in local space, well, they can join you along for that ride. Same if you're in high sec or low sec. I don't know if this works in wormholes. I imagine it does, which would be interesting if you pop into a wormhole and there's a station anchored there that happens to have some of these jobs available. We'll have to see how that works. But let's read through the notes. So, finding your perfect job. Available through air opportunities and the corporation show info window, capsuleers can browse nearby jobs in the opportunities window. Jobs are visible from up to 5 jumps away from the job's broadcast locations. Now, I'm assuming that if you're in a wormhole, that means you'll only get it if you are in the system, not just connecting ones, because that's going to make mapping wormholes a hell of a lot easier. You jump in through a wormhole and you see that there is a corporation 5 jumps away. Now you've just got to figure out which connections it is to get there. That would be fun. I don't think it's going to work like that. I think that is based purely on traditional system gates. In the corporation show info window, you can see all active freelance jobs issued by that corporation with real-time updates as new jobs become available as long as you are in range of them. You can have up to 3 of the jobs active at the same time, but you can resign from them at any time and accept new ones. So you can pick 3 of them, and if you decide that actually one of those isn't really working or a new one comes up that's a bit better, you can drop one off and just take the other one and then go back to the old one, that kind of thing. You can only accept 3 of them at a time, but you're free to pick and choose and swap through them. After accepting a job and contributing to it, you earn the ISK rewards assigned by the job creator automatically, just like corporation missions. Earned rewards need to be claimed from the rewards tab in opportunities or from each job's details view. That's important. It's not just going to immediately hit your wallet. You are going to have to open up the window and go, yay, I did the thing, give me the other thing. I'm really excited by this. Like, I am in a corporation, or at least I hope I still am. I don't know. It's been a long time since I logged in. But essentially, for people who aren't in corporations, for new players specifically, this allows them to engage with the corporation structure without having to commit to the corporation. If you are a high sec player or a low sec player, you can now just be wandering around space, doing whatever it is you want to do, and you can spot jobs that other corporations might have for you. And if you decide that actually that's something you want to do, well, you can do that. If you're a miner and you're just looking to harvest some materials for yourself and you jump into a system, you find a belt, you start to mine and you're browsing the job window, and it's suddenly like, oh, actually, I didn't need all of these materials. I'd be quite happy to sell some of those back to that corporation that wants to buy from me. That is a really cool idea. I love this. It's a great way to integrate new players and give existing solo players something powerful to do in their time as well. It just gives a bit more direction in game. One thing I've spoken to a lot of people through my time making content for EVE Online about, especially with new players, is trying to find what you actually want to do in game, finding things, to do. And some people do find that they get bored a bit quickly. They're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they don't feel like they're making much of an impact to themselves. Mining is a brilliant example of this, of people who just go out and mine rocks and then sell them, and that's kind of their game cycle. This gives you something you're actually working towards. You feel like you're contributing without having to be dedicated to a corporation. And I love that. I think that is absolutely fantastic. Creating and managing freelance jobs will blitz through this because for players like you and me, this isn't overly important. This is more just how does it actually work for those people who are in the corporations with the right management skills to be able to actually set these up. So it's a job creation similar to the existing corporation projects because it's an expansion of that. Project manager role is required for job creation as it is for corporation projects. You can have up to 100 freelance jobs active at the same time per corporation. For your job to be visible in the opportunities, you have to set the job broadcast location to one of your corp offices. Job will be broadcast within 5 jumps of the office. Each job can have up to 20 broadcast locations. So if you've got a big corporation, you can broadcast it out of up to 20 different stations, and it will then broadcast 5 jumps away from all of those stations. That's a lot of space. You can theoretically cover up to 100 systems, if not more. I don't know how the math works on that. That's going to be a lot more than that. 5 jumps away in every direction. If you had, oh, yeah, crikey, it's a long way. Issuing a new job has a cost of 100,000 ISK per day of the job's duration. So the corporation does have to pay a little bit of tax basically to do that. This is good. That is ISK destruction, kind of thing that needs to happen in EVE Online. It's a fairly small fee as well. But it just means that if you've got a job that you want to put up for 7 days for someone to do, it's going to cost you 700,000 ISK. That's nothing. That's on top of whatever you're paying for the job itself. Broadcasting a new job has a cost of 150,000 ISK per day per broadcasting location. Okay, so it's a bit more expensive than that. Essentially, 100,000 for the job as a flat rate, then an additional 150,000 per day for the however many stations you have. So if you want to do it from the full 20 broadcast locations, I'm not going to do that math in my head, but it's going to be 20 times 150,000 plus 100,000, and then times all of that by however many days you want it. Removing capsuleers from jobs and participant view to track contributions is part of the administrative controls. Job lifecycle management, it's 15 minutes minimum up to a year. Security and access control, age-based restriction. You can restrict your job so that only characters of a certain EVE age can access it. So not just having someone who's been in the game for 2 days, for example. You might decide that you want to set it for a minimum of a week or a month, just so that you're only getting capsuleers who are of a certain age and have been around. That's a nice little control to help against botting if you're in the kind of area that does allow that. It means that if you're in somewhere that gets a lot of bots that are banned and refreshed, they're not going to be supporting your corporation. This is a good thing. This is useful creating jobs that target new players for recruitment purposes or only older characters if needed. Excellent. So it works the other way around as well. You can set jobs for just new players. I can see things like EVE University's campuses doing this kind of thing. It's just a way to help on board people and say, hey, we're here. This is what we're doing. This is what you can do to help us. And if you enjoy doing this, why not come join us? I like that. I like that a lot. Available contribution methods. When I read through this, I'm thinking it's a little bit simplistic. I'd like to see more added, but at this point in time, it's pretty standard. Ship insurance, mine materials, damage capsuleers, capture, defend, Forge World, faction warfare complexes, and destroy non-capsuleers. So essentially, this is kind of just a way to, have people do those tasks. Mining materials, I think, is going to be a big one. I think if you're based in LowSec and you're part of a corporation, the ability to capture and defend faction warfare complexes is a really nice one. Not just destroying non-capsuleers, so going out and hunting pirates. Cool. If you've got a load of stuff in your system and it just doesn't seem to be getting cleared, you can broadcast that to basically pay someone to come and clear it for you. Damaging capsuleers. I'm hoping you can set not your own corporation, but in a way, that's a way to kind of say, hey, we're looking for little fights. Why not come and fight us? And if you can damage any of our capsuleers, we'll pay you for the trouble just to help train recruits or just have a couple of fun scraps. To me, that's really cool. And if this does work in wormholes, I'd love to see a few corporations in wormholes setting that up and basically saying, hey, come have a little bit of a rumble. Moving on then from the freelance jobs, we come to the corporation palette. Now, when I was at FanFest back in 2023, there was a huge, huge big thing going on about all the new skins and all of the excitement that that would entail. They're now blending this in onto a corporation level. The basic understanding of this is that essentially, whereas players were able to use Skinner to design their own skins, now corporations can do that at the corporation level. So, brand managers are able to assign between 1 to 3 custom colors to represent their corporation. These colors will be represented in two key places: corporation window and freelance jobs. A new brand management section in the corporation window where you'll find anything related to your corp's visual identity, logos, structure scanner, and now corporation palette. Base sequencing times in Skinner are temporarily set to 10 minutes. These are still affected by skills. Times will go back to their originals on June 16th. So you've got a bit of extra time to play with this and get an idea of what's going on. It doesn't look like this is just a case of, oh, you create a corporation skin and then everyone in your corp can go, yep, cheers, I'll use that. It's more that you can set the palette so that anyone in your corporation can then just pick the colors that they like. I'll need to dive into this and actually have a little bit of a stronger look at it to get a full understanding of exactly how that works. But for the time being, that does appear to be the case. That it's essentially you're just setting up a palette so that people in your corporation know exactly which hues to use. Omega benefits window. I've already seen a little bit of buzz around this. Some people really don't like it. Don't think it's a bad thing. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's just a way for them to really push the monetization. And that's kind of a point, right? So the Omega benefits window, it's a new window giving Omega a fresh new look designed to help keep capsuleers understanding and taking full advantage of the Omega clone state. It gives a detailed breakdown of Omega benefits, which is good. One of the biggest questions I get asked as a content creator is, why do I actually need Omega? Do I need Omega? What do I actually benefit from having it? Having this information clearly displayed in game, I think, is a good thing. A streamlined offers section where you can view and purchase Omega time and subscriptions, whether it's real currency or Plex. So when there are offers on, you can actually see that it's reduced, and you can just access it at any time you like. And you can see your clone state status nice and easily. Yes, of course, it was in the character sheet, but it's a bit of a dig to find that having its own window that just says, hey, you've got this much time left. Good thing. In the Neocom, direct access to the benefits window from the Neocom, which will be visible to alpha clones as a persistent reminder of what Omega can offer. And I know some people are feeling like that's it, kind of looking over your shoulder going, hey, you need me, and pestering you. I disagree. I think it's going to be easy enough to ignore. It's just a useful little reminder of what it means, especially for new players who maybe haven't watched content, who haven't spoken to people, who are just free to play at the time being, who don't necessarily understand what Omega can do for them. This will be visible to alpha clones and omega clones nearing expiration, just to give you a reminder. Nothing worse than going to log in, having a load of stuff, all your friends are waiting for you online. You come to log in and you find, oh crap, it's run out. This is just a reminder that it's going to run out. Make sure you're sorted ahead of time. I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually like it as a change. Fully subscribed to Mega Capsules can still access the benefits window through the Neocom menu, so you can still find this and look at the offers and things like that. Um, but ultimately, it means that once you are Omega, the kind of icon on your Neocom will disappear because you don't need it, right? Then we have the New Eden map. This, again, is really quite exciting to me. It's such a simple thing, but I really like these kind of quality of life changes. The map has always been problematic, and I think this is a step in the right direction. It's getting a usability update focused on making its features easier to access and interact with. Filters are now quicker to reach, map tools are more visible, and a new quick action button set has been added to give streamline to common tasks. While more changes are planned for the future, this iteration aims to improve day-to-day interaction with the map, reduce friction, and update the underlying user experience foundation to better support future improvements. So expect more. What has changed? Filters can now be accessed through a new filter bar located at the bottom center, replacing the previous drop down menu. So now it's just easier to tap and click through. Players can now add filters to their favorites and quickly access or switch between them. So you can choose what you want to see, when you want to see it, and swap between those easier. You can customize by right-clicking and setting Manage Filter Categories, choosing which groups are shown. Two new quick action buttons added to the bottom right of the map. Players can use them to instantly refocus the camera on either their current location or their home station. This is really nice. So you can choose to find how to get home nice and easy, or where your stuff is in relation to you. You can also just figure out where you are right at the center of the map, nice and easy. View mode toggle, shown as a circled A icon, lets players switch between standard 3D and a more abstract, flattened view of the map. This is something that was in Eve Echoes, and I really liked it at the time. It was a great way to just be able, the flat version. Don't get me wrong, the full 3D is beautiful and it showcases what the universe is actually like. It's not a flat map. but having it as flat makes it just that little bit more readable sometimes. It was certainly useful when I was doing the CarTSA challenge in Eve Echoes, where I was flying through every single system, just because when it's flat, you can look at it and kind of tick things off as you go. Obviously, that's a fairly niche use, but there we go. So new layout panel gives players more control, grouping the map by system, constellation, or region, highlighting connection lines between systems at different levels, choosing which jump bridge links are visible. Nice to see that jump bridge links are also going to be visible so you can see where they are and where they go. Selected location shown at the top center of the map. From there, players can focus on higher level location or quickly set destination and add waypoint using quick action buttons, which is always good. Route mapping and navigation, useful skills to learn. Anything that makes that easier, always good for it. Map interface is now responsive with improvements to how it behaves in minimized, floating, or full screen modes, and the pointer window now allows players to browse available filters and share them in chat with other capsuleers. That's really cool. Now, if you're enjoying this so far, I just want to take a brief moment just to say thank you for listening in to me. It's good to be back making this kind of content. If you do enjoy what I'm doing, please like, hit subscribe, maybe drop a comment below to say, hey, welcome back, Benzie. It's been a long time since we've seen you. Loving the new Irish accent. Um, we'll talk about that at some point, I promise. And if you are also looking to help support the channel, if you're ever buying anything on the New Eden store, type in CPT Benzie into the content creator code at the bottom and I get a little bit of a kickback. That really helps, and it's a great way to help support content creators like me. Doesn't cost you anything extra, just means that I get a little bit of a thing for, the fact that you watch my content. So thank you. Please remember to do that. Sovereignty Equinox expanded. Let's move on. Upgrades that you can install in Sovereignty Hub are no longer limited by the maximum potential power in the solar system. This means you can have all 7 mineral types upgrades installed now and swap between them through reprioritizing or offline onlining them rather than needing to destroy them to install new ones, which is really cool. I like that you can just essentially, you still can only have as many active as you could, but now you can build the ones you need and then just toggle them as you need them. That's really cool. I'm going to rattle through this fairly quickly because, again, sovereignty and stuff like this is kind of up to corporation leads, and I make my content based more around folks like you or I who are playing the game rather than the ones who are running the corporations. So basically, exploration detect. We then have exploration upgrades, detector 1, 2, and 3. These are 3 tiers of exploration upgrades, which will have a combination of data and relic sites. They'll be available for Angel Cartel, Blood Raiders, Guristas Pirates, Sange Nation, Serpentis, and Rogue Drone factions. These exploration upgrades have a guaranteed chance to spawn several exploration sites between 0 and 5 jumps from the solar system where the upgrade is installed. Exploration sites spawned from them will have a small chance to escalate to a brand new data and relic escalation with the potential for high rewards. Yay for more exploration. Unfortunately, it is very much nullsec based stuff, and I'm not sure if my group has gone nullsec way yet, or if we're still wormholes. But yeah, we'll see. Again, there we go. It's all to do with, again, another reason why I don't tend to go much too into sovereignty and things like that, because it just doesn't necessarily affect my playstyle, so I'm not overly familiar with it. Exclusive rewards from the data escalation include blueprint copies for the powerful new Zeracia storyline modules for micro jump drives, reactive armor hardeners, ancillary shield boosters, and armor repairers, the new hack-and-focused wedge implant set, and the triplot scan acquisition array. The wedge implant set sounds interesting to me. I like exploration. Having exploration implants, Higher tier upgrades have increased number of sites and faster respawn times. So it kind of shows you here what their costs are and what their benefits now are here. Essentially, these are things that you can set up in sovereign systems to just spawn more exploration sites. Cool. Resource generation upgrades, same kind of idea. It's a workforce mech tooling upgrade available in 3 tiers, which costs power, generates workforce. Power monitoring to fission upgrades available in 3 tiers, which costs workforce and generates power. So you can do that either way. Costing power, generating workforce, costing workforce and generating power. So if you've got a surplus in any way, you can use it to swap into the other. Upgrades are mutually exclusive, not possible to have both of them installed at the same time, which makes frickin' sense, right? You don't want to be like sitting there. Imagine it's like currency conversion. If you've got euros and you want to turn them into dollars or vice versa, it's pointless setting up a machine in your like a macro in your bank account that sends $100 across to euros and then 100 euros across to dollars because it's just going to spin forever. System effect generator upgrades, a new type of upgrade with Legion which players can install in sovereignty hubs to provide a set of bonuses to all ships in the solar system. They're very low daily upkeep but very high onlining cost to discourage swapping them out and toggling them on and off frequently. So, this is an electric stability generator. Produces system-wide effects similar to those encountered in electric environments within abyssal dead space. 25% bonus to capacitor recharge, 25% targeting range and directional scanner range. Exotic, similar to exotic abyssal. 25% scan resolution, plus 2 AU warp speed. Gamma stability generator produces system-wide specs similar to gamma within abyssal dead space. 5% shield HP, 5% shield booster effectiveness, 10% capacity. Plasma, similar to plasma abyssal. 5% armor HP, 5% armor repairer, 10% bonuses to the benefits of overloading modules. So what's the point in this, right? I really like this. I think this is bloody fantastic. And I'm really sad that this seems to be linked directly into sovereignty. I was hoping this would definitely be wormhole based because it means you can kind of have a wormhole that's in, say, a black hole, and then you can add other things to it as well to give those system wide bonuses. But it means, for example, if you are in a corporation that has a lot of lasers, you can have additional bonus capacitor recharge rate to help fund your base defense. You can have things like if you're running an armor doctrine, then you could have the plasma stability generator set so that your armor is going to be better, and that's going to help if anyone tries to come and attack you. Your ships are going to be better off with that. Also, obviously, helps with ratting. If you've got an armor or shield doctrine, then using things like the gamma or plasma stability generators are going to make your ships more powerful for taking out ratting. Excellent way for helping you bros online things. Skyhook cost of conquest. Upon destroying a sovereignty hub and conquering a system in nullsec, players now have the choice to pay ISK to convert any remaining skyhooks within their newly required system for the first hour after claiming sovereignty by selecting Manage Skyhooks option. Then there's some blueprint conversion going on here that I'm not going to get into because, again, it's high level stuff that's not what I need to worry about at this point in time. Here's where we get to the stuff that I am very, very interested in. And definitely a lot of people have messaged me saying, oh, you're going to be excited about this one, Benzie. And of course I am. It's a Barbaroga. New Triglavian Marauder, the Barbaroga. Barbaroga, by the way, is sort of a Czech kind of way of saying Baba Yaga. If you understand anything about Slavic mythology, you've probably heard of Baba Yaga, a witch that lives in the forest on a house that exists atop 3 chicken legs. Bit of a monster, bit of a carer, depending on which bits you're reading. Anyway, Barbaroga skill bonuses. 7.5% per level of precursor battleship to the super tidal entropic disintegrator optimal range, and again 7.5 to the disintegrator tracking speed. So the higher your precursor battleship is, the better the optimal range and tracking. Application bonuses. The Marauder skill, 7.5% bonus to armor repairer repair amount, 20% bonus to super tidal entropic disintegrator maximum damage multiplier bonus. So this means at full Marauder 5, 100% increase to super tidal entropic disintegrator maximum damage multiplier bonus. That is huge. That is a lot of damage that can be kicked out by those super tidal entropic disintegrators with good optimal range and good tracking speed. You're also getting a really solid 37.5% boost to your armor repairer repair amounts, so it seems it's going to be fairly tanky. That's on top of roll bonuses, 100% to the remote armor repairer range, as is standard on Triglavian ships, 50% reduced energy neutralizer capacitor need, 50% reduced remote armor repairer capacitor need, 50% reduced smart bomb capacitor need, which is nice, 100% bonus to tractor beam range and velocity, 70% reduction to micro jump drive reactivation delay, and can fit Bastion modules. This excites me. I love Marauders in general, and the fact that we've got one here that has the Triglavian suite of remote armor repairer range and capacitor need reduction, along with energy newts there for self-defense if you need them. The reduction to smart bombs means that you've got great ways of handling those small things in C5 systems, for example. The reduction to micro jump drive reactivation makes that actually a viable thing to jump around and smart bomb, or just to get a bit more range to have the enemies move towards you so that you're getting those nice optimal range bonuses and actually hitting stuff as it then approaches, giving you a chance to ramp up your entropic disintegrators. Because remember, entropic disintegrators ramp. They start at low damage and get higher the longer they're going, which means if you keep switching targets, you're not doing good damage. So you kind of want to keep you kind of want to keep the disintegrators on the big targets while your smart bombs handle anything that gets in range. Blueprints of these can be obtained by performing invention jobs on Leshak blueprint copies, which means they should be fairly straightforward to get. Invention requires high energy physics, Triglavian quantum engineering, and Triglavian encryption method skills. Data cores, 32 high energy physics and 32 Triglavian quantum engineering. Its stats are shown here. The ship itself looks absolutely beautiful. I'm going to see if this will load. Mute that because I don't really want all the sound. There it is. Look at her go. Beautiful looking ship. It's very typically Triglavian, but it's a beast of a thing to look at. It looks like a Leshak that's been ramped up to 11, maybe even 13. Stunning. I cannot wait to get my hands on one of these, take it out, rat in a C5 Bastion, or Core Garrison, sorry, and then lose it almost instantly. Then a ship that I'm probably not going to be flying for a long, long time. Although I was training Dreadnought skills. Maybe they've trained in the year that I've not been playing. The Sarathiel. Angel Cartel ships, you know, are some of my favorites. 10% bonus to capital projectile turret fall off. 10% bonus to capital projectile turret damage from Minmatar and Galente. So essentially, you're getting 50% bonus to fall off, 50% to damage. Nice damage spike, nice fall off there. Fall off usually works better with what they called autocannons than it does with your artillery. But I think it'll work nicely with either. It can fit a siege module, of course, because it's a dreadnought. It can move at 10% velocity while in siege mode, which is nice. Can fit a capital micro jump drive. Can activate it while in siege mode. 25% bonus to warp speed and warp acceleration. 25% to capital projectile turret damage. 5% penalty to entosis link cycle time. So much so standard. It's just a big, beefy Angel Cartel ship that looks like it is going to hammer the ever-living crap out of anything that gets close. And it just looks gorgeous. Look at it. Just look at it. We've got the Angel Cartel Titan. Now we have an Angel Cartel Dreadnought as well. It's nice to see the Dreadnought doing its thing. There it is. It's just jumped off. Away she goes. So pretty. I love it. Really cool looking ship. Genuinely, I'm so impressed with that design. See if that'll load as well and get it on screen now. I love the vertical design like the Kizriel. It's just fear compels the weak, ferocity drives our legion. Excellent. Love it. Was there a quote on the Barbaroga as well? Oh. Oh yeah, stillness is hollow pravda. Nice. Anyway, don't know what that means. Balance changes then. So in addition to getting these, there are a load of balance changes coming. First of all, Pirate Faction Dreadnoughts. The LP and ISK cost of the Cayman and Vehement blueprints offers from 50% to right the way down from 25 billion to 12.5 billion instead. So they're going to be cheaper to get those. The Cayman gets its fighter tubes increased, the number of light fighters supported increased to match, its shield hit points go up, its armor hit points go up, and its fighter capacity has been increased. So there is a big boost there to the Cayman, a ship that I love the look of, but I've never really heard of anyone flying. It's expensive. Now it's cheaper and better. Looking forward to seeing some of them in space. The Chemosh, new roll bonus added. This is the Blood Raider one. New roll bonus added. Capital Energy Nosferatu fit. The ship ignores target signature resolution. Nice. Roll bonus for capital energy turret damage increased. Armor hit points increased and structure hit points increased. So this one hasn't got cheaper, but it has got more armor, less structure. The fact that it ignores the signature resolution when using its Nosferatu, and its damage has gone right up as well. That is a big boost there to damage. The Chemosh is looking like it's going to be a pretty scary powerhouse. That Nosferatu means it's just going to quite happily chow on anything. The Vehement, which is the Serpentis one, roll bonus for capital hybrid turret damage increased from 37.5 to 50%. So again, dropped in price, big boost to its damage. Remote repairers are getting a change. Added a 10% bonus when heating all remote armor, shield, and mute adaptive repairers. This in addition to the cycle time bonus they currently have all heated. So now when you overheat a remote repairer, it gets a bonus to its cycle time and the amount that it is actually repairing, which is huge. That's both for armor, shield, and mute adaptive. The bonus is improved to 15% on T3Cs, that's the Tier 3 strategic cruisers, with the offensive support processor subsystem from the heat bonus with level 5 skills. That's huge. That's a big boost to logistics, allowing just any Logi pilots to get that little bit of an extra oh crap moment out of the way. In addition to this, logistics cruisers are getting some changes as well. The Oneros, 15% reduction in armor plate mass penalty, so it's going to be a little bit more nimble to move. Base velocity has been increased, again, more movement. Agility improved, signature radius reduced. So it's harder to hit, faster, and more nimble. The Scimitar gets a new bonus, a 15% reduction in shield extender signature radius penalty per level of logistics. So it's going to be able to fit shield extenders with less of a shield bloom. Nice. The Basilisk New bonus, 7.5% bonus to shield hit points gained from shield extenders. So it's getting more HP out of those extenders, though it will still get the larger signature radius. Its natural signature radius has gone down from 90 to 70, though, which is a big change. And base speed has increased by a not insubstantial 13 meters per second. Not bad. The Guardian, 7.5 bonus to armor hit points gained from armor plates, otherwise unchanged. The Zarmaged, new bonus, gets 7.5 to armor hit points gained from armor plates per level of logistics. So again, more armor from armor plates. The Atana, same again, but for shield hit points and shield extenders. And the Rabasu, armor hit points from armor plates going up as well. So these, the logistics cruisers, are a bit more survivable. The Oneros has had quite a big boost overall. The Basilisk gets some nice changes as well. Scimitar, Guardian, Zamaged, Atana, and Rabasu just get a little bit of extra survivability on themselves. In addition to this, logistics, the tier 3 cruisers, that is like your Loki, your Tengu, all of these are getting additional power grid on their support processor subsystem, in addition to the bonus to the remote armor repairer, which was mentioned there. So they're getting that additional heat bonus. Beyond this, Savior implant set now grants an equal amount of reduced capacity need for remote repairers alongside the reduced cycle time bonus it already has. This means that Saviors will no longer increase the capacity cost per second needed to sustain the higher remote repair throughput they provide to subcapital remote repair modules. Essentially, to unpack that, it means that when you are using the Savior set, it would normally speed things up. But by speeding things up, it cycles more frequently, meaning more capacitor actually gets used. What this is doing is saying it's speeding it up and reducing the capacitor to compensate. So you're getting faster cycles thanks to the Savior implant set, but you're not using more capacitor. The diminishing returns adjustment for remote repair has been relaxed, and ships will now receive a higher amount of HP per second when getting repaired by multiple logistic ships at once. Included below is a graph showing the updated formula in Legion compared to TQ, Tranquility. The graph shows total incoming HP per ship per second for a ship which is receiving T2 remote capital reps from a triaged force auxiliary. And you can see that there. I'm not going to go over all of this and explain it. What it essentially now means is essentially this is without the diminishing returns, what it would look like getting all of those additional repairs on and how much that would stack. The blue line is what that used to look like under Tranquility's current things since, I forget the name of the expansion that changed all of this now. Surgical Strike? I think it was Surgical Strike. And now they've relaxed it, so the total incoming HP per second is now represented by the yellow line. It's a lot bigger than it looks. It means that whereas before you had these big drops between your theoretical output and the diminishing returns actual output, it's just not as big anymore. That is a good change. I know a lot of people are going to be excited by this. It essentially makes ships more survivable in big fleet-based PvP. We've then got some changes to cruisers. The Thorax, a ship I have always quite liked, giving it a bit more thrust and making it feel less tight by improving the power grid so it'll be easier to fit higher caliber weapons and an easier time getting in range for blasters. So yes, it's got a 10 meters per second movement speed buff, and its megawatts output of the power grid have gone from 820 to 860, 40 additional, which is not insubstantial for a ship of cruiser tonnage. The Rupture, on the other hand, a ship I adore to pieces, but I've always struggled finding a use for, finally gets some differentiation from the Stabber. Essentially, now it's getting changed, so its damage bonus per level of Minmatar cruiser has gone up from 5 to 10%, so the turrets deal more damage. The medium projectile rate of fire bonus for the Minmatar cruiser is replaced with a 7.5 to the mobile medium projectile tracking speed. So rather than rate of fire, it's able to track better. And the drone bay and bandwidth has been increased as well. Essentially, what this is now done, it says this underneath it, but my first thoughts looking at it was essentially that since the Stabber has fall-off bonus and additional missile hardpoint, it tended to be the more damage-orientated ship for getting up close and dealing hefty DPS. The Rupture just didn't match that. What the Rupture now does, by having a tracking bonus and rolling the rate of fire damage bonus into the direct damage, makes it a more viable alternative to the Stabber when comparing short-range autocannon fits by giving it a tracking advantage when brawling, and improves on the existing strength it had with artillery by improving the alpha and giving it tracking. And I do think that's a really nice change. It means the Stabber is going to be still your more powerhouse for getting up close and just hitting things. The Rupture is more of a brawler. It wants a bit more range. If it's using the autocannons, it's still going to do well with those. But it's now arguably more based around artillery, so keeping a bit of range, kiting, that kind of thing, and hitting off with that. The Execra Navy issue has been reduced. I love the way they describe it as small slap on the wrist, 20% to 17.5 per level. That is a not insignificant decrease of 12.5% overall, rather than 100% with all 5 levels. Rather than 100%, it's now all the way down to 75%. It's a nice drop. As they say here, it's still overperforming. It's the most used Navy cruiser hull, even after its adjustments in Revenant. So they're just giving it a slap on the wrist to bring it down. The Myrmidon Navy issue, not a popular ship at all. Cargo capacity has been increased from 400 to 560. It's a minor change, but it just means you can loot more, which makes it better for Ratten. Bonus to the strength of web drones now also grants 10% bonus to web drone hit points per level of Galente battle cruiser. That gives it a bit more of a niche role, which I really like. The Harbinger Navy issue, a new bonus, 10% reduction to capacity cost of medium energy turrets per level of a Mar battle cruiser, making it just a little bit more solid in sense of its capacity usage. In the notes here, they say that the Myrmidon Navy and the Harbinger Navy still being flown much less than the other Navy combat battle cruisers, and even after a small set of buffs we made in Revenant, we're giving them some more love. The Myrmidon Navy issue had a smaller cargo hold than many cruisers, despite having a big focus on active tanking, so we're giving it room for a lot more cap charges or whatever else you might like, and adding some more hit points to web drones so they can't be killed off so fast. The Harbinger Navy, on the other hand, loses the energy turret cap bonus from the regular Harbinger, which can make it a lot more reliant on capacitor, so by bringing the bonus back as an extra third bonus, we're hoping it'll be more attractive. Yeah, I can see that. I also didn't even think that, for things like active tanking, where you want to be able to pop in cap boosters and things, having that ability on the Myrmidon Navy issue is pretty big, and that's 160 cubic meters. That's not a small up. Updated the reprocessed materials on mining barges, so they now match the ship blueprints. This will mean that mining barges will have more accurate and better insurance payouts. Fine. Factional warfare and insurgencies reduce the amount of scorched navigation log items needed to turn in for the Navy scanning upgrade blueprint copy crates from 100 to 10. Huge drop in the requirements there means that the market will have a lot more of those on it. So expect to see the prices on those drop and availability increase. Quality of life improvements. It's now possible to see how a damaged laser crystal is in your inventory in the tooltip by hovering your mouse cursor over it. Nice and easy. Just quality of life change that should have happened a long time ago. Increase the resistances of energized membranes, armor coatings, armor hardeners, shield hardeners, and shield amplifiers by approximately 11%. Just a full rollback of surgical strikes resistance nerfs. So again, ships are getting a lot more resistant. This again just plays into the fact that they're upping survivability in regards to logistics, ships getting new survivability bonuses, and surgical strike being rolled back, along with the changes to how repairers overheat, etc. That's a lot of survivability ups. Titans and supercarriers, again, something I know very little about. Increase the damage of Titan Doomsday weapons from 2.4 to 2.4, up from 2 million. That's quite a jump. Added a new skill book, Advanced Doomsday Operation, which increases the damage of Titan super weapons by 7.5 per skill set. Increase the Titan armor plate and shield extender roll bonus to 500% from 300%. Increase supercarrier armor plate and shield extender to 400% from 200. And increase the number of salvos a fighter has as follows. Not going to go through these. If you're interested, read it on screen now. Reduce the damage applied by space superiority fighters attacking non-drones and non-fighters to 95% from 80%. Essentially, this is a push to have Titans and supercarriers just to be a little bit more survivable, a little more damaging, and actually have a use. I think along with the Lancer dreadnoughts, Titans kind of fell to the wayside a little bit, and I think that's what they're looking to do here. In fact, there we are. Titan Doomsday weapons have not kept up with the metagame and have therefore been given a significant buff. Survivability of Titans and supercarriers has also been increased, and there should be more opportunities for the game's larger ships to take the field and actually make a difference. Fighters will now be more sustainable, decreasing the time they spend being recooled and rearmed. Space superiority fighters were applying too well to subcapital ships and have therefore had the damage to these ships decreased without impacting their anti-fighter role. Cool. Cruisers have then been redesigned. I'm excited to see this. I'll probably do a video ranking these or something. 5 tier 1 cruisers, and there are 11 variants have been graphically redesigned. The Mala, and it's the Sacrilege and Devota. Ships I love the look of. I can't wait to see how shiny they look now. The Omen, again, a ship I really enjoy, including the Navy issue and the Zealot. The Galente Thorax, the Pirate Faction, Special Edition and T2 variants, Vigilant, Sybil, Deimos, and Phobos. Again, I quite like the thorax. I've used it at length, especially the Deimos and the Phobos. The Galantis Celestis and, and Arazu and Lachesis, maybe they're not quite so ugly anymore. And the Scythe. I do like the Scythe and the Scimitar. It'd be nice to see what they've done to those because they felt old. Those ship graphics felt old. And I just really like it when they do this with ships, when they update how they look. And looking at the artwork here, I don't know if this is going to make it bigger. Yes, it does. You can kind of see there how the Mala looks. It's got new detailing on the front. That's pretty. The thorax looks a little bit less phallic now. This looks a little bit less like a pregnant fish. And I can't really see what's going on with the scythe there. We'll have a proper look at those at some point in the future. New audio for armor repairer and remote armor repairer, hull repairer, remote hull repairer, new effect added, shield booster and remote shield booster, armor hardener and shield hardener. Module sounds now play loop and stop correctly based on usage. Fixed issues with sound effects attenuation during camera zoom, so it actually zooms in and out properly with the sound active. Remote module system improved to accommodate better audio integration and increased variation on repeating sounds. Nice little subtle life changes, but in honesty, I think audio is one of those things you don't really think about until it changes, and then you realize, oh my goodness, this makes such a change. I think it was during the development cycle of Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, that one of the shotguns wasn't getting used in multiplayer. And the dev team looked at it, and actually, the stats for it seemed a bit overtuned. So they nerfed the shotgun, but then put into the patch notes that they had applied several changes to how the shotgun operated. They nerfed its stats and they changed the sound it made. And suddenly, its usage rate shot right up. People found it to be a better weapon because it sounded better, it felt better to use. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. Anyway, folks, that is what's coming in Legion. What are you most excited about for this? For me, it's going to honestly be looking at the new ships, both the Sarathiel and the Barbaroga. I am super hyped to get this out and take a look at it. I'm looking forward to logging in and having a look at some of my cruisers in my hangar and seeing how they've changed. I really want to take the Rupture out for a spin and see how that's changed now, especially for things like Abyssal Dead Spaces and maybe some light C2 ratting and things. We'll see how that gets on. I'm really excited by those things, but please do let me know what excites you the most. And if you've enjoyed my content, again, please do hit like, subscribe if you haven't already. There is super thanks if you want to help support. I've got a Patreon page, and of course, use my creator code CPTBenzi if you do happen to buy anything on the New Eden store. Whether you're buying Omega, buying skins, buying Plex, whatever it is you're buying, just use my code, and excellent. It'll help me out. Thanks for watching, guys. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.